Although we really wanted to go see tigers in Rajasthan, that big pink province on the west, we learned that it was going to be over 40 degrees, so we changed our plans and went to the western Himalayas instead, the other pink province up there called Himachal Pradesh, where Dharamshala is, and Ganj, where the Dalai Lama lives. We hopped on this tiny little plane. We saw those fantastic views of the mountains on the way over, and we just could not get over the mountains. After being in the eastern Himalayas and not seeing the mountains because it was cloudy, we were so excited to see the mountains here. We had this fantastic deck at the place where we stayed. We sat there lots and just looked at this glorious view.
I think we all really loved Dharamshala, but it was probably one of my favorite places in India. It was so quiet and peaceful and lovely. It was very hot during the day, but it got definitely cooler in the afternoon. The sunset was amazing. The color of the sky was so many different colors, and it was so wonderful to be here.
This langur jumped right onto the railing of our balcony, and he was like a foot away from Jeff, who hadn't seen him until he landed right beside him.
What kind of monkey is that?
And one night in our room we saw this ginormous spider, and it was quite an adventure to get it out.
The Dalai Lama that we have today is the 14th in a line of reincarnated spiritual leaders of the Tibetan people. And as we walked around turning these prayer wheels, we thought about him and the Tibetan people who were forced to flee and live in exile in India for the rest of their lives as China invaded. And we thought about the openness of the Indian people and the government, even though that puts them in a very tough situation with China, and about the incredible resiliency of the Tibetan people. Signs like these highlighted for us the difference between a spiritual leader and just a political one.
And on the way up, we saw these adorable little monkeys, and they were so cute.
When Jeff and I were in Dharamshala back in 2007, the Dalai Lama wasn't there, so we were thrilled to find out that he was going to be there on this visit. We applied and were accepted to meet him in person. This was an incredible experience. I was humbled beyond words and not able to enunciate any of the questions or comments that I had for him. I just stood there and felt his incredible presence. It was super neat for us, for the kids, to meet him too.
What I noticed here at the Dalai Lama place was that everyone was very, very calm. And everyone was happy. Whenever you talk to one of the people who was escorting you around, or just any person, they were just very, very happy to be there.
It was such a perfect day. Completely blue skies, just the right amount of shade from the deciduous trees above, and no phones were allowed up here, so it was very quiet and peaceful. We could barely contain our laughter when the Dalai Lama arrived in an electric golf buggy.
When it was my turn, I had planned to tell him that we had been together in the same building before, so to speak. I had seen him in Vancouver at a huge Me to We concert with 18,000 high school students from all over BC. And when I said that, he paused and then did this, which was a very special moment. The plight of the Tibetan people continues to this day. It's worth looking into. And it was a quite amazing experience for our whole family.
In preparation for the really long hike that we were going to do the next day, we did this warm-up hike. We hiked through the forest. It was fairly flat and not too long, but pretty technical and rocky, and we eventually got down to this really cold, Arctic stream.
So we're at a beautiful waterfall creek area way up in the mountains above Ganj. And this water is ice cold. Ice cold. And Emily is doing the 3-minute cold dip challenge. What's she at? What's she at?
40 seconds. What?
She's only been in 40 seconds?
Woo! Well, now 40.
Only 2 minutes and 20 minutes
Okay, now
to go.
hands are numb. Numbs are hands. Numbs are hands. 45 seconds. 50 seconds. I'm feeling good about putting water on my feet, please.
1 minute. The whole time it was sunny, not super hot, and we were hiking through this gorgeous valley with snow-capped peaks in the distance and a small town the other way. It was so beautiful. And then, of course, we went to our favorite restaurant, The Other Space. It was like a workplace cafe with the most delicious Western food, and we really loved it. The Indian food was delicious, but after a couple weeks, some pancakes and smoothies are really nice.
We woke up early for the big hike, the tree and trek, and had breakfast in this huge establishment. But it had great food and a great view of the valley. We climbed about 900 meters to get to the top, and it was a bit of a tricky, rocky climb in some parts. And we enjoyed some shade along the way. There wasn't much to be had, and then we hit the top.
All right, so we're 3 hours of hiking, 890 meter elevation gain, and sometimes you wonder, why are we doing this? It's so hard. And then you get to the top and you've got that to look at for the next couple hours.
A
little that?
mountaintop.
Money?
Mountaintop cricket. Yeah. You know you're in India when?
This was probably the single most rewarding hike I've ever done in my life. We arrived up here at like the top of the world, and we had a great lunch and got some Gatorade, some chips, and we had an amazing 360 panorama view.
Hi, Julie.
Hello.
Where are we?
We are in the mountains of India,
Uh-huh.
just above Dharamshala,
Yes.
where we're staying.
Yes.
Well, near Dharamshala.
Oh, look, there's horses over there.
Well, they're mules.
Mules. They hiked up the trail too, carrying things for that shop, like water bottles.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And
And
it's
here,
called, what kind of trek is it called?
Oh,
The Triund
Trian
trek?
Yeah.
Yep.
And here is the Himalayas.
Da da! Look at them, they're glorious. The Daudala Range. Look at them. And today is Earth Day, 2026.
Yay!
What a wonderful way to celebrate Earth Day, to see geological time displayed for us as art.
Although Canada boasts a lot of beautiful mountains to hike around, it never gets old seeing new mountains in different places around the world.
This is the main road from our hotel up to the Dalai Lama's temple.
And the Cloud Ganj.
Cloud Ganj, yeah.
And Dharamkat.
Yeah.
And the Trian Trek and the monastery.
Yeah, it's a really well-used road.
The main road.
Yeah, it's the main road.
Oh, this guy's got to back down now.
Looks like they need to rebuild it a little bit. It's falling down. And there's the rest of it.
After avoiding heat and massive crowds for the first part of our India tour, we decided to hit Delhi for 3 days in 40-degree heat to give them a feel for how it really is. Things really ramped up when they hopped on a subway and it closed its doors and took off. And there we were on one platform and our kids were on the subway train. And looking at this web of metros in Delhi, you know, what could go wrong? Kids being on a metro alone in Delhi.
This is the Red Fort, and unfortunately for us, the main entrance was closed, so we had to walk some 2 kilometers in 35-degree heat through Delhi to the side entrance.
Here we are, it's 7:30 in the morning. We're at the Red Gate. The Red Fort. Well, we're trying to get into the Red Fort. There's the ticket entrance. So there was a gap in this fence. Somebody said we could go through, sorry. But then when we tried, somebody else said, no, you have to go over to the other gate. So here we are, walking to the other gate.
The Red Fort itself was worth the walk. It was a massive complex built by Emperor Shah Jahan in the early 1600s. Shah Jahan also was the reason that the Taj Mahal was built. He blended different styles of architecture, including Indian and Islamic. He was a descendant, actually, of the Mongolian Genghis Khan. And the more we travel in this part of the world, the more we realize how far the Mongolian horde traveled and took over in those days. It was a much revered site, this Red Fort, for its beautiful architecture. It was the home of the royal family of 200 years, and they also had public hearings for people to settle disputes.
We went to visit this beautiful Baha'i temple called the Lotus Temple, and we went inside. We weren't allowed to take any pictures inside, sadly, but we got to hear a prayer service, and the acoustics were absolutely incredible, just really beautiful. The Baha'i faith is a global religion that's based on unity. They believe in unity of humanity, equality for all people, universal education, and global peace.
We then hit up a museum which showcased here the 4 major early civilizations of the world based on the major rivers, many of which we've learned about this year. We marveled at how amazing their rock sculpting is, and then we learned something that we'd never known before, how they make these intricate metal pieces. They make exactly what they want to make out of beeswax first, then they pour clay around it, let the clay dry, fire it, then they leave holes in the bottom of the clay, put the whole thing in a fire, all the beeswax melts out, and then they dump in whatever metal they want to make it out of, copper or bronze, in this case copper, and then they let it harden. Pretty ingenious.
A huge draw for us to go to Delhi was to learn about Gandhi and show the kids some of the really powerful and peaceful leaders of our time. Even Einstein said that he thought he was the most enlightened of all political men. Gandhi is known as the father of the nation in India. He's highly revered as he helped India gain independence from British rule in a non-violent way. Here he is with the spinning wheel that he's known for. He also preached simplicity and self-sufficiency. Here's a place that he stayed before he was assassinated. It shows the simplicity with which he lived his life. Here are all his worldly remains. I shudder to think how many worldly remains I would leave behind. Gandhi has had a far-reaching effect, not just on India, but on other places and people. He influenced Martin Luther King Jr., Nelson Mandela, and the Dalai Lama. So it was pretty neat to see somebody that the Dalai Lama, His Holiness himself, would look up to.
Most of the countries we had been to, we had seen some version of Monopoly. And in India, of course, there was Monopoly cricket.
Here's Julie learning another life skill, how to repair clothing. This is her favorite long-sleeve sun shirt that has just been travel-worn, so she's learning how to sew it back together.
As we flew out over the Caspian Sea and right over a place, one of our favorite places in Turkey, at Metin's place in the mountains by the Black Sea, we were so relieved to actually be flying to Europe. Here's how we got around all the closed off airspaces and the couple of wars that are happening. And it was time for 5 cities in Europe. Up next.